Samantha Mumba broke out onto the music scene in 2000, and it looked like she was destined to be the next big thing, but then she disappeared as quickly as she came, and you're not going to believe the reason why or what she's doing now. When Samantha first found success, she was a long way away from her home country of Ireland. At just 15 years old, she was spotted by the X Factor judge and music manager Lewis Walsh. From then on, her life became a roller coaster as she traveled around Europe performing and recording songs for her first album. It was all too much for her though, and eventually Samantha dropped out of school to focus solely on her music career. It was a risky move, but I guess it was a necessary sacrifice because you won't believe the kind of success she had with her debut album, Gotta Tell You. The first single, which shared its album name, made it to the top 5 position of the charts in Ireland, the UK, New Zealand, Australia, and the US. It put her on the map, and tweens and teens around the world fell in love with her sound. The album itself peaked at number 9 in the UK and made it onto the US Billboard Hot 100. It also spawned 5 more singles. Samantha then moved to LA to make her music videos, promote her album, and take advantage of what the US had to offer her as an artist. And before she knew it, she was singing on TV shows, appearing on magazine covers, and performing at Disney Studios with other rising stars like Aaron Carter.
It got all wrapped up in the whole.
Obviously, her parents were worried about letting their child fly off to the other side of the world and work for a famously ruthless industry, but Samantha revealed that she was allowed to go because she had someone to keep on the straight and narrow.
One of my biggest saving graces is my aunt, Christina.
So luckily for Samantha, she had someone who had her back, and she was able to navigate the life of a fresh pop star in Hollywood. A lot of us were eager for a second album and got excited when she dropped a new single called I'm Right Here, featuring Bob Marley's son, Damian Marley. But while the single did okay in the UK and Ireland, it failed to chart in the US or do well commercially, and that's when the rumors began. People assumed that because of the failure of the track, Samantha's record label decided to scrap her second album and let her out of her contract. But years later, Samantha went on a chat show and set the record straight.
Yeah, you weren't able to make a record for something like 2 years.
I couldn't release music and I was still stuck in a contract.
Apparently, she was eventually dropped by her label, so her debut album actually ended up being her last one. Samantha is a triple threat though. She landed herself a lead role in the 2002 movie The Time Machine opposite Guy Pearce.
It was a wonderful experience.
While the movie did pretty well at the box office, it was slated by critics and it ended up being the last big blockbuster that Samantha was a part of. So by 2003, her singing and acting career had both quieted down, and it didn't look like Samantha was going to become the big star we'd predicted her to be. But we still got to see her in commercials and magazines thanks to her work as a model. Around the time her first album came out, she became the face of the sneakers brand Reebok, and at one point, she also became the face of Dior and was part of their branding for their watch collection in the early 2000s. She made headlines in 2002 for an outfit that had jaws dropping, but it wasn't just for the way it looked. Samantha was chosen to model the world's most expensive dress at the time. It was called the Diamond Cobweb dress, and she appropriately showed it off at the premiere of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Apparently, the dress cost £5 million, which at that point was a total crazy amount of money for a dress. But it's not like Samantha gave up on music completely. In 2013, she released some new songs and was hoping to have a comeback as an independent artist.
Your new single?
Yeah.
New single, yes. I wrote it about...
But the reason you might not have even heard about it is because the first single only did well in Ireland, and she didn't even follow it up with an album in the end. So what was Samantha busy doing if she wasn't focusing on her music career anymore? Well, she dabbled in the world of reality TV for a while and appeared on cooking competitions and talk show panels. And it was also her personal life that was keeping her busy. When she was young, she dated R&B singer Cisco for a while. But she found the love of her life in the late 2000s when she met an LA police officer named Trey Scales. They got engaged in 2011 and married a year later in Los Angeles. In 2015, Samantha was pregnant with her daughter, but just before she gave birth, something terrifying happened to her that could have changed her life forever. A few weeks before her due date, Samantha was involved in a horrific car accident. Somehow she made it out of the car accident unharmed. She took to Instagram to update everyone on the news with a picture of her damaged vehicle. In the caption, she wrote that her poor car had been written off a week before the baby was due, as was the daughter's car seat. However, she said that on a more positive note, God protected them all, and she and Trey were just so grateful that their little girl was okay. Fortunately, she later gave birth to a healthy girl she named Sage. In an interview with Irish newspaper, the Irish Examiner, Samantha admitted that she was a very laid-back parent and that whatever Sage wanted to do would be supported. But she also confessed that living in the US and raising her daughter so far away from her family wasn't always easy. and that became even more difficult during the pandemic. Like a lot of people, Samantha went through something truly heartbreaking during that time. VIP magazine reported that she lost her father in 2020 when she was stuck in the US because of the closed borders. Obviously, it was a really tough time for her, and she even wrote and released a song about her struggle. Alongside that single, she released another track called Cool and described her comeback music as different and more adult. She said that the record was where she was at as an adult, a woman, a wife, and a mother, and that it was just a little bit more fun. But just like her last attempt at a comeback, she never released another album. In 2021, when US borders began to open up again, Samantha took a gig that would allow her to spend some time in her home country of Ireland again, but it wasn't something anyone would have expected her to do. She became a judge on an Irish singing competition show called Last Singer Standing,
making her one of the most successful.
While speaking to the Irish Examiner again, Samantha shared that it was her first time working on a show like that. She said that she wasn't a huge fan of the standard singing competition shows, and they wouldn't be something she'd watch. But Last Singer Standing just piqued her interest because she thought it was different. She went on to explain that it'd been a terrible year to be in the entertainment industry in Ireland, so when she heard that it was different from the usual singing competition shows where the prize was a terrible record deal at the end of it, she jumped at the opportunity. But if you are secretly hoping that Samantha might return to music again, then you could be in luck. In May 2023, she performed at the Birmingham Pride Festival in the UK, and a month later, she was singing at another big festival in London. She showed off her new track called Run Boy Run, and then pretty soon after that, she dropped a new single called The Lie. So fingers crossed that she finally releases a second album for us to enjoy. But anyway, what do you guys think? Did you remember what a giant success Samantha was when she was just 17 years old? Do you have your hopes up that she might have another album on the way? Let me know in the comments below.